Beyoncé passes Jay-Z in all-time Grammy nominations. Beyoncé has made history by becoming the most nominated artist of all time at the Grammy Awards, overtaking her husband Jay-Z. The couple had been tied on 88 nominations each, but Beyoncé has now pulled ahead thanks to recognition for her latest album, Cowboy Carter. She leads this year's Grammys race with 11 nominations, including Best Album, Best Country Album, and Song of the Year for Texas Hold'em. The other leading nominees, with 7 each, are Billie Eilish, Kendrick Lamar, Post Malone, and Charli XCX. The Beatles also picked up a nomination for Record of the Year for Now and Then, an unfinished John Lennon track that was completed last year with the help of AI. Beyoncé is already the Recording Academy's most honored artist, with 32 wins as a solo artist and a further 3 as part of Destiny's Child. However, she has never won the coveted Album of the Year trophy, despite 4 nominations in the category. Earlier this year, Jay-Z appeared to scold Grammy voters for Beyoncé's lack of recognition in the top category as he accepted a Lifetime Achievement Prize. "I don't want to embarrass this young lady," he told the audience, "but she has more Grammys than everyone and never won Album of the Year. So even by your own metrics, that doesn't work. Think about that. The most Grammys, never won Album of the Year. That doesn't work." Beyoncé's 11 nominations are the most ever received by a female artist in a single year. This year, the star's main competition will come from Taylor Swift, who has won Album of the Year 4 times so far, more than anyone else. Her latest release, The Tortured Poets Department, is a protracted and messy breakup album recorded in the middle of an exhausting world tour. After spending 15 weeks at #1 in the U.S. earlier this year, it earned Swift her 7th nomination for Album of the Year. Other contenders for the main prize include Charli XCX for her volatile pop masterclass Brat, and Grammy's darling Billie Eilish for her sophisticated and experimental third album, Hit Me Hard and Soft. More surprising was the inclusion of former Outkast rapper Andre 3000, whose instrumental flute album New Blue Sun edged out presumed nominees like Ariana Grande and Post Malone. Breakout pop stars Sabrina Carpenter and Chappell Roan have snagged nominations in all of the Big Four categories: Album, Song, and Record of the Year, and Best New Artist. Carpenter is recognized for her flirtatious summer anthem Espresso in the Record of the Year category, which recognizes the overall production of a song from vocal performance to instrumentation. And she has been shortlisted for the country-adjacent ballad Please, Please, Please in the Song of the Year category, which is awarded for the craft of songwriting. Roan entered her breakout single Good Luck Babe in both categories, after a meteoric rise to fame over the past 12 months. The Missouri-born singer is the favorite to win Best New Artist, thanks to her dazzling and flamboyant debut, The Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess, which is also up for Album of the Year. Elsewhere, British star Ray picked up citations for Songwriter of the Year and Best New Artist. The Rolling Stones were also nominated for Best Rock Album for Hackney Diamonds, their first album of original material since 2016. And Lamar proved once again that he had prevailed in his long-running feud with Drake. The Compton rapper's diss track Not Like Us picked up 5 nominations, including Best Rap Song and Song of the Year. Meanwhile, former U.S. President Jimmy Carter became the oldest ever Grammy nominee. At the age of 100, he is shortlisted for the Best Audiobook, thanks to Last Sundays in Plains, a collection of the prayers and parables he delivered during a decades-long tenure as a Sunday school teacher at his home church. While the main categories were dominated by cutting-edge female pop acts, there were some notable absences from the list. Katy Perry, whose latest album 143 flopped, failed to pick up any nominations. Dua Lipa, who actually opened the 2024 Grammy ceremony, was likewise snubbed for her Radical Optimism album. Dolly Parton's first ever rock album, Rockstar, also missed out, while Megan Thee Stallion, who won Best New Artist in 2021, was unable to persuade voters to champion her third album, Megan. Country star Zach Bryan, who won a Grammy earlier this year, was also missing after choosing not to submit his work because he does not feel comfortable with award shows making music competitive. And there was no recognition for K-pop, despite the genre dominating global charts last year. No bias. A total of 20,309 eligible entries were submitted for the Grammys' 94 categories this year, and voters will start sifting through the shortlists before casting their ballots in January. This year, the Recording Academy, which organizes the awards, added 2,000 new members, bringing the total number of voters to 13,000. Almost two-thirds of the panel are newcomers since 2018, as part of a drive to improve the diversity and relevance of the Academy, which has faced accusations of being out of touch, especially when it comes to music of Black origin. Grammy CEO Harvey Mason Jr. warned voters in July that there is no place in our organization for bias, grudge-holding, or careless voting. The results of their votes will be revealed at a star-studded ceremony in Los Angeles on the 2nd of February 2025.
Bamboo versus electric toothbrush, which is the more sustainable? Billions of toothbrushes are discarded every year. How can we brush our teeth in a more environmentally friendly way? When I used to work in an office, I'd keep a manual, plastic toothbrush in my desk drawer. My colleagues would laugh as I diligently made my way to the bathroom, toothbrush in hand, every afternoon after lunch. At home, I had an electric toothbrush. I've always looked after my teeth, but ask me about my chosen toothbrush brand, about its material composition or its environmental impact, and I couldn't tell you. My relationship with my toothbrush was disposable and limited to its ability to clean my teeth. I doubt I was alone. People should replace their toothbrushes every 3 to 4 months or more often if the bristles are frayed, according to the American Dental Association. Given the toothbrush's ubiquity, billions are used and discarded every year. A group of academics from University College London, UCL, Eastman Dental Institute and Trinity College Dublin recently published a joint report to compare the sustainability of different types of toothbrushes. They compared plastic manual with replaceable heads, bamboo, and electric, using a life cycle assessment, LCA, to consider all aspects of a toothbrush's life, from creation to disposal. The fossil fuel-derived plastic polypropylene, used to make both types of plastic brushes, had the single biggest impact on the environment when it came to the LCA of the brushes. In its Global Plastics Outlook, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, estimates that around 380 million tons of plastic waste is produced globally each year, of which 43 million tons comes from consumer products. And roughly 14 million tons of this, or 3.7% of total plastic waste, is made of polypropylene. As for the electric toothbrush, its environmental impact was 11 times greater than the bamboo toothbrush, according to the LCA. It performed the worst in all but one category, water scarcity, and the greatest contributor to its overall environmental impact was transport, due to being heavier. But if the electric brush came last, which brush topped the table? Oral hygiene was taken out of the equation, with both the report and the NHS claiming there is no evidence that any type of toothbrush is more clinically effective for the prevention of cavities and tooth decay, although electric brushes are more effective at removing plaque, partly down to technique, the inbuilt timing device and more agile heads. Read more about how to properly brush your teeth in this article by Martha Henriquez. The UCL and Trinity College study showed that plastic manual toothbrushes with replaceable heads came top, very closely followed by bamboo. You might find it surprising that plastic toothbrushes, even those with replaceable heads, are more sustainable than bamboo ones, given that bamboo grows quickly in otherwise challenging conditions and is a natural carbon sink. Bamboo toothbrushes may stop land from being put to better use, such as increasing biodiversity, or in growing trees to offset carbon emissions, co-author Paul Ashley, professor of pediatric dentistry at UCL, says of the findings. It is therefore not necessarily the best option for the environment as popularly believed. Though it's important to note that its climate impact is still much lower than conventional and electric toothbrushes. Patrick Verkland, chief executive of the Humble Company, a Swedish company which makes bamboo and plant-based toothbrushes, says that by working closely with suppliers, they ensure that their bamboo is grown in a way that respects the surrounding ecosystem and does not encroach on land critical for biodiversity or food production. Bamboo's biodegradability sets it apart as a material for toothbrushes, as it decomposes naturally when disposed of properly, Verkland says. In contrast, most plastic toothbrushes persist in the environment for centuries if not fully recycled, a process that remains a huge challenge on a large scale. Approximately 60% of the humble company's toothbrush handles are 100% plant-based. The plan is for all handles to be fully plant-based within the next 12 months. The rest feature a small amount of plastic, while bristles are made from nylon, a plastic component that the company is looking to replace with alternatives, which it is currently researching, Verkland says, while trying to design a sustainable electric toothbrush. Jive Safavi, founder and chief executive of electric toothbrush company Surrey, based in the UK, came across a problem. He was researching the possibility of recycling replaceable plastic toothbrush heads, and when he spoke to different recycling streams in the UK, they told him that the heads can be recycled but they are too small for them to process, so they don't. Safavi encountered the same hurdle when looking for manufacturers that could create a toothbrush handle that could be opened up by users. They were initially incredulous, confused as to why he'd want a toothbrush that could be repaired. But he found solutions to both problems. Surrey's toothbrush heads are made from cornstarch and its bristles from castor oil. Customers can send used heads back to Surrey in a prepaid envelope to be recycled. The brand will also take back all brushes at end of life. We designed our brush, with a battery, that lasts 2 to 3 times longer than most conventional electric toothbrushes on a single charge. This means it needs to be charged less frequently, which significantly extends the overall battery life, and therefore the lifespan of the toothbrush, says Safavi. We take them apart and we salvage all the materials we can. Batteries cannot be reused, but we can recycle them to the best raw components possible. According to a report in UK Consumer Champion magazine, which, Surrey, seems leaps ahead of others on the market when it comes to its green credentials. Sophie Thomas, a circular design expert and visiting professor at the Royal Academy of Engineering, UCL, says that the Surrey rechargeable electric toothbrush is definitely a step in the right direction, with better charging, repair services, a great way to understand common fails in these products, and a send-back recycling scheme for the heads. Advertisement. The carbon impact for any electric toothbrush is predominantly embedded in the materials of the motor and battery, so the longer these can work and be repaired the better, she says. In their current plastic form, toothbrushes will never get into the recycling system at scale, Thomas adds. On average, she says, a plastic toothbrush is made up of 4 types of co-molded polymers that cannot be recycled in the same stream. Recycling is always about economics, she explains. Toothbrush handles are made from HDPEs, high-density polyethylene, which are so cheap that they have no value. We need to move away from our reliance on plastic and find genuine alternatives for single-use and short-life products. Bamboo and plant-based materials are a positive step away from the plastic status quo. We should also be looking at the potential of waste streams to create new materials. Brett Duane, associate professor in public dental health at Trinity College, and lead researcher of the report, says that even recycled plastic is problematic, pointing to a 2023 study which found that 13% ends up as microplastics in wastewater after the recycling process. We need a product, made from materials that can be grown naturally and then recycled repeatedly to allow land to be used for other purposes, so recycling of non-fossil fuel products is the way forward, he says. I think there are still significant problems with recycling plastic. At my local supermarket, staring at the shelves filled with toothbrushes, there were no electric versions making environmental claims, and only the Ordo Sonic Light, £35, $45, competed with Surrey, £75, $97, on design. As for manual brushes, the 2 brands that stood out among the majority of plastic products were the Humble Company, which offered 2 brushes for £3, $3.90, with a handle made from a mix of plant-based materials and polypropylene, with nylon bristles. Another option featured a 100% biodegradable sustainably grown bamboo handle and nylon bristles for £4, $5.20. For £6.95, $9, Teep Choice offered a manual brush with reusable wooden handle, replaceable plant-based heads and bristles made from castor oil, and 80% less plastic waste. I decided to try the latter because of its reusable handle with replaceable heads, the type of brush that topped the study, but without all the plastic, and I was pleased with the results. I would now struggle to justify buying any plastic toothbrush, even one with replaceable heads, when there are much better options on the market. Granted, some scrutiny on the consumer's part is needed, such as checking the credentials of the bamboo or other non-fossil fuel material. Even the authors of the UCL and Trinity College report conceded that, Since they started their study, new toothbrush materials have come to market and, as such, further research is now needed. They highlighted electric toothbrushes with aluminium, rather than plastic, handles as the next generation of electric brushes. Aside from its renewable materials and recycling capabilities, what struck me about the Surrey toothbrush was the thoughtful design. With its slim aluminium body, it is a third of the size of a standard electric toothbrush. And even bamboo toothbrushes look better than plastic ones. Perhaps if more brands put more care into their toothbrushes, from rejecting the fossil fuel status quo in favor of better materials to creating a desirable product, then more consumers would assign value to them, rather than see toothbrushes as the disposable items they are so often designed to be. I certainly will.
Timeline of Luka Doncic and Devin Booker's rivalry. Devin Booker and Luka Doncic have had their fair share of history. The pair's rivalry peaked during the 2022 NBA playoffs when the Dallas Mavericks and Phoenix Suns matched up in the semifinals. Doncic led the Mavs back from a 3-2 deficit, winning Game 7, on the road in a 123-90 blowout. Booker and Doncic face off Friday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN, their 22nd career meeting across the regular season and playoffs. Booker leads the regular season series 11-4, but Doncic has the edge in the playoffs with a 4-3 record. The averages aren't particularly close between the two when they match up. Doncic's splits are 28.7 points, 8.4 rebounds, and 8.3 assists compared to Booker's 24.3 points, for 0.0 rebounds and 5.0 assists. Despite the on-court spats, there is a level of respect between the two. Me and Luka's respect for each other has been mutual and at a high level since he came into the league, Booker said before Christmas Day 2023. Obviously, a playoff series gets super competitive, as every game does, but the world just takes it and runs with it, and that's fine, it's good for the game. When asked about his relationship with Booker in February by JJ Redick on his podcast, Doncic said, "It's good." He joked that the last time they played, they didn't fight, referring to an early triple technical between the two teams. "I told him for one time, it's not us," Doncic said. Here's a look at some memorable interactions between Doncic and Booker. The Luka special during a 110-80 victory in Game 5 of the 2022 Western Conference semifinals, Booker didn't shy away from taking a shot at Doncic. Booker drove to the basket, but was knocked to the ground by forward Dorian Finney-Smith. The Suns guard proceeded to lay on the ground for a couple of seconds after the play. As he got up, Booker looked at a fan recording a video of the scene and said, "The Luka special," a presumed shot at Doncic exaggerating foul calls. Luka answers back. Game 5 seemed to be the turning point not only in the series, but the competitive banter between Doncic and Booker. The feud escalated as Doncic left the court for the Mavs locker room. ABC 15 in Arizona caught Doncic saying, "Everybody acting tough when they're up." Whether this was aimed at Booker is unclear, but the Suns' trash talk had Doncic's attention. The birth of a meme. Doncic put together one of the most impressive performances in NBA playoff history in Game 7. He matched the Suns' point total in the first half, 27, becoming the first player in the past 25 postseasons to equal or exceed the opposing team's point total in a half, according to ESPN stats and information. Doncic finished with 35 points and 10 rebounds on 12 of 19 shooting in just 30 minutes. Booker called the 123-90 loss a good old-fashioned whooping, and added that nothing got chippy between him and Doncic. The blowout win eliminated the Suns and spawned a popular meme. Don't wait till it's 3 seconds left to talk. The Mavs had a chance to win a tight game in March 2023 when Doncic drove to the basket on Josh Okogie, who fell to the hardwood. No foul was called and Doncic missed the floater. Kevin Durant collected the rebound and Phoenix went on to win. Booker pointed at Okogie and yelled at Doncic. Seconds later, the Mavs star rushed Booker and the two came head to head, though it was quickly broken up. Doncic had a simple reflection on the moment after the game. "It's fine, it's just competitive game, man. It's all good." Just next time, don't wait till it's 3 seconds left to talk. Friendly congratulations during the Mavs and Suns Christmas Day game. A sweet moment was captured between two competitive foes. Booker congratulated Doncic on his daughter, who was born earlier in December.
Audio Jungle.